Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're great and keeping safe. First, I'd like to apologize for this hitches we had. Technology na hivyo. Welcome to our L.in.K Live. My name is Adero Ocholler, and today we're going to talk about GBV. I'll introduce my guests. With me, our resident psychologist, Sophie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. We have the co-founder of Usikimye Njeri, and she'll tell us more about it. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, Njeri. Pole for the
Can you hear
hassle on
me?
trying. Yes, I can hear you. Pole for the hassle of trying to make it on time.
I'm sorry. There's always
It's
something.
okay. I know. Nancy, we have Nancy with us. Nancy Karibu Sana. Nancy is our, I'll call her domestic violence survivor. I will not say victim. Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Hello.
Welcome to L.in.K Live.
Thank you very much.
All right then. So we're going to talk about GBV as I'd mentioned, and gender. It's in itself the most extreme expression of disparities across gender. It is any act that has a negative impact on the physical, sexual, or psychological health, development, or identity of the person. It is violence directed against a person because of their gender, and both women and girls and men and boys can experience it. Our first reality is that in Kenya, and as a result of the lockdown imposed to stop the spread of COVID-19, such violence has intensified. Our second reality is that when we are silent about it, we allow these crimes to multiply. So, guys, basically, we are going to start with Nancy, who is going to tell us about just her journey and how she survived violence. So, Nancy, if you could kindly share your story with us.
My name is Nancy. I was married for 8 years. I got married to a guy for 8 years. When I was getting married, I had a child already, a 3-year-old boy, and now we had also another child. So we had like 2 children with him. We stayed for 8 years until now. We started having problems with my husband. That was when now my son got sick.
Oh, okay.
So things were not okay in our marriage. Uh, yeah, considering we had a few issues when it started. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how to really put this, but when we got married, when we started living together with him, there's few things that I hear from his side of the family. People, for example, like his sisters would come and take me out, telling me how I didn't deserve to live with their brothers. Their brother was not that of a good person. But now me, I was like, this guy, I've known him. We've dated for almost, let's say, 3 months. It wasn't a long date, and I didn't see anything that was wrong with him. So we got back together. We decided to like lenga the sisters and the brothers and what everyone was saying. So all started sometimes in 2015. Now after I gave birth to my second born son, that is now he turned to be someone else. He could come home at times and. He wasn't drinking, so I wouldn't say that he was someone who used to drink and come home when he's violent or anything. But then he could just come home at times. He's just annoyed at me. He says he doesn't want me. He calls my family members, tells them he doesn't want me. He wants me out of the house. So then I thought that it was something, maybe he was going through something, because then he didn't have a job. So we were trying to struggle to get him a job. Okay. So when he got this job, things got worse and worse, especially now in 2018 when my son got sick. The son that when we were getting married, he married me with this boy.
Okay.
So the boy, when the boy got, it's when he changed. He asked me out of the house. He could ask me out of the house, especially in the middle of the night.
Wow.
I remember there's a time we came from hospital with my son. My son was undergoing chemo that time. So when we came home, we found our things at the door for us guys. Then he said I should carry
Whoa.
myself and my son. So he considered his son, the one that I gave birth with, as his. So he was like, "You and your other son, I want you guys out of my house, out of my life, and all that." And I remember
Yeah.
it was around 6. So I was trying to, because also me on my side, I was trying to avoid letting my aunties, my sisters know what was going on. So I
Yeah.
stayed there until late, thinking maybe he will have sympathy for us guys and tell us to come in, knowing that it was late and everything. He refused. He refused until around. He left with the other guys, so we waited. They came back at around 10 at night. So we stayed there. When it reached around 1, he said we are not even allowed in the compound. Called the watchman on us guys and told the watchman that should remove us out of that building because he doesn't want us in the building. So we left. We went to my auntie's place. I stayed there for like 2 weeks. Everything had gone down because the reason why I kept on coming back and I kept on insisting on living with him and everything was out on condition that my son was ill, and I didn't know I would start a life of my own then, because at that point I had also lost my job.
Wow.
I The only thing I had were my kids and him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I came back after like 2 weeks, he welcomed us in. He was like he doesn't have any issues with us. 'Cause I remember even before I came back, I called him and I was like, if you'd allow us to come back home, because where I live now is home. And this boy, being that he has undergone chemo, he's vomiting, he's always sick and everything. I think he needs an environment where
Yeah.
he's friendly, and also he needs his brother
Yeah.
near him. So he
Yeah.
refused. Then he said yes. So we came back. We stayed. He apologized for what he had done. He said he didn't
Yeah.
know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, come 2019, things got worse and worse and worse, worse to an extent where he could beat me up.
So he started
Worse to an
beating you
extent
in
where
2019.
no, he started beating me in 2015, but then it
Oh,
was a one off. Like he could beat me like
okay.
one, yeah, then maybe every, yeah. But now 2019, it was something that would happen even weekly. At times he just come,
Whoa.
he's very annoyed. You don't know what is going on with him. At times he waits for my son who was sick, and he tells him, we have gotten ourselves in so many debts because you got sick. So when I come home and I
Whoa.
ask him why he's doing would turn into I would be given a beating because of that. So yes, it got worse to a point where one day I went to Westlands. I was working there for a friend. So when I came back,
Mm-hmm.
while at Westlands, I was
Mm-hmm.
called. I was called by his mom, and the mother
Mm-hmm.
told me that the son has asked him to tell me, has asked her to tell me to leave the house because he doesn't want me. So I asked
Wow.
the mother what I didn't know what was going on when I left. Yes, we had
Mm-hmm.
issues, but I thought there were issues
Yeah.
because we were stressed because the finances. I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
We were taking our son to hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so we had debts and everything. That was what was
Mm-hmm.
going on, if you ask me. Like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. He just said I should tell you to leave. But now me, I'm calling you to confirm. Why is it that he's asking you to leave? What did you do? So I told
Yeah.
the mom, I can't really, don't know what's going on. I don't, I really can't tell, because then my firstborn son was going through. My second-born son also had an issue with the bone, with his hip joint bone that needed to be operated on. So me, all I know is that I have my two kids are not well. We've been trying to see if we could get money to take these boys to the hospital, but then we haven't quarreled. It's just we've just been quiet. We haven't been talking, and the mom is like, "Okay, so you should know your husband is mad, and he says he doesn't want you in the house anymore." So when I went back home, I found him. He was seated. He was seated on the couch. Actually, it was dark. He had switched off all the lights because I got home at around 8. So when I passed the kitchen, then I just spoke to the house girl. I realized the house girl had cooked, but then he didn't eat. So I just went back to the sitting room and I started with I just asked, "Honey, what happened today? You are not eating?" Then he told me he's not hungry. And I was like, "Okay, sour then." Your mom called me today, and she said you had a problem, which I don't understand, because how come you didn't even tell me you had a problem with me? Then he asked me what exactly did my mom tell you? Then your mom said he doesn't want me in the house. He wants me to leave. You want me to leave. So I don't understand what happened. He told me that is exactly what I want. I want you out of the house. Then I asked him why. Why is it that you want me out of the house? Because what have I done? I don't understand. Then he told me, you've done a lot of things and I can't keep you anymore. I don't want you in. So at that point, I told him, very well, I don't have a job. I don't have money. My kids are sick. What am I supposed to do? Where do you expect me to go? I can't also go home because I'm an orphan. So, and also at my auntie's place, I can't take my son, being that he told me I should look. He knows I have friends, so let me look for one friend so that I can go live there until everything is settled. He'll tell me when to come back. I shouldn't come back until he tells me when to come back. So then, I also went to the bedroom and I was just packing my stuff, because thinking, first of all, before I even reached there, when myself and this guy, when we were getting married, he didn't have a job. He was struggling with a job then. And by this time, I would say I used to provide for the family, even the house that he was kicking me out of, paying for that house when now we were coming in. So I thought that because of all that I had done for him, he had that sympathy. He wouldn't tell me. So at first, I just took a small bag and packed like 3 clothes, and I stepped out, thinking maybe he was going to tell me, "Oh, don't go," because now I was leaving the kids. He told me to leave the kids and come back with them after 1 month, when now I've decided what I want to do. I mean, now I've settled. So when I came back, when I left, he locked the door and switched off the lights and went to bed. So I went
Did
to
you
my
leave?
friend. Then I
You
went to my
left,
friend.
Nancy? You left with your kids?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I left my
Oh
kids at
no.
home. It was
Okay.
almost mid.
Okay.
Yeah, so I left my kids. So I just went. I took an Uber. I went to a few of my friends, whom most of them did not even respond to my call. It was late, actually. So I came back. So coming back, I tried. I tried the bell. He didn't open. Then my house girl came and told me he has instructed me not to open that door. So I stayed out until around 3 at night. So all these things that were happening, I got myself into a place where I would say, at this moment, as in it's something that I don't know whether, because when I opened at 3, Kwanzaa, he's the one who opened the door at 3, and when he was opening, he asked me, "What do you want?" Then I told him, "I've gone to my friend's place and they are all asleep. I don't think I can leave now. Let me leave tomorrow morning. Then he just told me, you come in and please don't go to the bedroom. Stay in the sitting room.
Whoa.
So then I went to the kitchen. I tried committing suicide. And he
Oh
came.
no.
Now that was my red flag. He came and I had taken these drugs and he was looking at me and telling me, why is it that you're not yet dead? I'm waiting for you
Oh,
to die. Why is it not
Whoa.
why is it can I add you more? You can die and we get over with this. So then my
I'm so
phone was off.
sorry.
So I screamed. I asked her. She came. She charged my phone. Then I took myself to hospital. I was admitted for like 2 days. He never showed up. So when I came back home, I packed my clothes. I went to my auntie's place. I stayed there for
Yeah.
like 2 weeks trying to sort out myself. Once I sorted myself, I got a house.
Yeah.
Then one day I just went there during the day when she wasn't there. I packed my stuff. I carried my
Mm-hmm.
things and left. So even after that, he kept on following me, saying he wants the small boy.
Yeah.
He could come to he first of all he went and posted my picture on his Facebook saying how I'm a thief, I've stolen his things.
Whoa.
Then after that, so I don't I really can't tell how he managed to find me, but then he did. He
Mm-hmm.
came home. He started posting also where I live. He told people how I ran away with his child, and he wants his child. He has even taken me to children's court so that I could live. And all this he's doing not because he wants
Yeah.
the boy, because he wants to torture the sick. Yeah. So
Oh.
far we are still at the children issue. Yeah.
Oh no. I'm so sorry to hear about that, Nancy. And did you have anyone like you who, when you had such incidences like of him being violent on you, did you have anyone to turn to run to talk to? Did you have any support?
At first, the very very first time he hit me, I ran to the sister's place because it was so bad that he wanted to throw me over the balcony. So when I managed to run, I ran to the sister's place, and the sisters came and they helped me pack and leave. They told me our brother is not a good person, Nancy. I think you need to
Ah,
just leave, and you fight. But then
yeah.
after like 8 months, back again together with him. Then
Oh,
now these
okay.
other times I tried taking him to my auntie. My auntie
Yeah.
also tried speaking to him. He never changed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, you initially he took you in when you had your first, I mean, your firstborn. And I'm sorry to hear that he's unwell and he's in hospital even as we speak. Um, so when you guys hooked up, he was okay with you having a baby and there were no issues then. The problem started when you had now your second born, who was the baby you had, the boy you had with him.
Yes. When he was taking me in, because the first conversation I had with him was about my son. Because I told
Yeah,
him I have a son, I have a 3-year-old boy, and I wouldn't want
yeah,
to get into a relationship where you don't know about my son and everything. So because the very we dated for like a month, then he proposed to me. Then I was like, okay,
ah,
fine. So even if I'm coming in with my son, and he was okay with that. He really loved him. There was
yeah,
no issues at all with the boy.
yeah, yeah,
Problem came in when I gave birth to his son. That's when the problem came in. I
yeah,
wouldn't say that at first he hated his firstborn son, but then when my
yeah.
son got sick, that is when the hate kicked. That you could see
Oh,
that there was something that there were the two boys. You could see that. He could even tell. He could tell me. He could tell the boy. He doesn't feel anything for him as a father, because well, the time that I realized was now when the boy got sick. uh there's some that I had to cut off, just like they usually tell you at cancer, what brings cancer is ABCD. So I decided I wasn't going to give my son any junk food anymore. I wasn't going to give my son sugar, or so he would wait when I'm not around and buy all the junk food and bring the younger boy to sit in front of the other one, and he eats when the other one is looking at him. And it was kind of a torture when I'm not there. And at times I would ask him why he's doing that, and he's like, I'm giving my son the best I know how to. So you should also give your own son. So I'm like, did we even have our sons in this house? Because from what I understand, they were both our sons. And for the past years, this boy has been the father. So why is it that until recently, I remember him telling me, I've been there for the boy enough. Now you need to go look for the father, you know. And I really don't know if the issue was because of the boy. I really can't tell if the issue was me, but most of the time we would fight was because of now this other child.
Yeah. Yeah. And right now, how are your kids? Do they ask about him? How did it affect how did it affect them? Of course it did. Would they ask you even now where daddy is?
So the younger one always asks, even now. So many times he cries out for the father. He wants the father, because now he spoiled him. He could leave the house with him, take him to all these fancy places, and but now the other one, he remember when now he came and started causing drama, and my firstborn son was there. uh he went to him, which was the most painful thing that I would say that happened to me, because I when the father was making noise and we were fighting, I went and locked myself in one of the rooms. Then my son just drove the chair to where the dad was, because even if he wasn't the biological father, he took him as the father kabisa. So he went to him, daddy. I don't know what happened. I don't know what mom might have done. And I don't know why you had to ask mom to leave at this point. But then we wish you all the best, but life has to go on. So after that, now I even tried to with him about the father, he tells me, Mom, you know what? You just let him go. Just you will. Because there's a day I came back from work and he had watched something on TV. Then he was like, Mom, I need you to watch this. And it was about some guy who had kicked out a lady. Then the lady went and became successful. And now this guy found himself washing this lady's car. Then he's like, what? From what I know, I'm praying for you. You will one day again. And I'm like, I didn't really know this is affecting you this much. So I tried talking to him about it, but what he does most of the time, he kind of blocks me. He'd rather speak about his father and how he feels a stranger, but not me, because he feels maybe if he starts to me and everything, I might cry or something.
Okay.
So he doesn't. Yeah.
And while all this was happening, the violence, emotional abuse, physical abuse, did you ever report to the police? Did you protect him? How did you handle that situation?
So yes, I reported like 3 times at the police station. Uh, twice twice when I went there, I went. He was called and he said no. He refused to turn up. He told the police, if you guys know that I have done something you should come to where I am and arrest me. So these guys gave me an OB number and asked me to go get a P3, which I did. I got a P3, but then I didn't pursue it. I left it. I just left it there. I was like, maybe him knowing that I've gone to the police might help, or he might get scared or something. Yeah. So recently, when now he to where I stay now and tried causing chaos, I called the police, and that one at least shocked him. And so far, he has never come back. Yeah.
So the police were actually helpful.
Yes, they were helpful.
Okay. I'll now just move to Njeri. Njeri is the co-founder of Usikimye, and she can just tell us about the organization and just what it is all about for those who don't know Usikimye. Njeri?
All right. My name is Njeri, co-founder of Usikimye. Usikimye, we deal with sexual and gender-based violence. We rescue persons affected by these issues. We have a shelter where we run. We are currently full. We take both. In the shelter, though, it's only women and children, because again, you can't mix the two. You can't mix the men and the women, and it's we can only at the moment accommodate 8 people. So yeah, basically right now we just have women and children. Also in Usikimye, we try as much as possible to do rescues where we are called about situations that mostly is about sexual violence, where maybe a child has been, has been a victim of sexual violence. That is one of the things we do. We also try and highlight what is on the news in terms of SGBV. Like we keep a data, statistical data, where we can tell you this year from this date to this date. This is just reported cases. We try as much as possible to draw a parallel as well as a trend. We'll keep the statistics of both genders as well as children who have been killed due to sexual and gender-based violence. Yes. So that's some of the things we do.
Okay. And when you're doing the rescues, this involves, because we also want to talk about violence against men. Statistically, what can you tell us about that? Because when people talk about GBV, it's assumed, and even when we put up the posters, people were like, "What about the men? What about the men?" Yeah, people assume that it's covers, only the women, and the men are ignored or isolated in such situations. What can you tell us about the statistics about violence against men?
First, let me start. Let me put it this way. When we put it like that, it feels like we're in a competition where men and women are competing for who is much more of a victim, which I think is really unfair, because statistically, and if you read from the Kenya statistics, it says one in every 3 Kenyan women in their lifetime will be affected by SGBV. So that means 1 in every 3 women will either be raped, be beaten, be harassed, anything that encompasses SGBV, a woman will go through this. Now, when we come to men, the same statistics say 1 in 54 men. I guess because this SGBV disproportionately, 1 in 54 men. So because this is so disproportionate, 1 in 3 as is to 1 is to 54, then that is why I guess we have people saying men are neglected. And again, there is a wall of silence that men have when it comes to discussing issues of SGBV. Again, the issues of SGBV will be reflected on women. GBV will be reflected on women. Most of the time, women are the victims because they don't have the power. Because they're disproportionately affected in terms of maybe finances, and they're the ones who take in, a lot of things. And when women are affected, the children also get affected. because most of the time the children go with the mother. So that is why you find most people saying, what about the men? But what about the men? We are here, we are open. We've never said, if you come to me and you have an issue, we're not going to listen to you. We're not going to help. And maybe in one of the 100 women I have helped, we've only had one man. One man is the only person who has actually reached out to us, and we did. We reached out to him, and we went to him and we listened to his story, and we did everything we could to put him back on his feet. Yes.
Okay. And in situations where, like, okay. And in situations where, like, the other day we shared with you, I called you after reading on your page that you rescued a 10-year-old boy who was being molested by the neighbor, and he was to undergo surgery yesterday. What happens? Maybe you could tell us something about that. And now, what happens to him after he gets out of surgery?
So this is what happened. We were called, the boys from a place called Migwi 44, and he had been, the neighbors, where he lives, found the perpetrator in action. So they obviously they beat him up. When he was picked up, he had really been beaten up. And then the other thing that happened is, now when they called me, I called Kasarani police station. There's a wonderful woman there called Helen Morgan that helped me to do all this, the rescue, the reporting to the police, and we quickly rushed him to MSF because he was not in a good place. So when we rushed this boy to MSF, he was treated. MSF didn't have space at that particular time. So this boy was sent home. I was told to go home with him. And I was given a letter to get a children's home where I could take him. But when I was driving with him, the boy was really in a bad place. He couldn't see it, so he had to lie. And I was looking at him and I realized that he needed specialized care. I think that is the point where you called me, where I was trying to talk to another hospital to take him in, even though they're not the one who started the GVRC, the care, after the sexual violence care. So here I was with a baby. He's 10. He is in pain. You could actually, even though he had been given pain management, you could see he was very uncomfortable. He couldn't sit. He was in a diaper. And I really looked at this child, and I was actually coming with him to my house. And then I asked myself, how will I handle this baby? Then I went to the children's home that we had agreed to take him in. And when I did, and me and that woman, we looked at the child, we looked at his diaper, and we realized that this child needed a hospital where he needed to be at. So we struggled, but finally Nairobi women agreed to take him. That was around 7. I think I was speaking to you at 5. So they agreed to take him. So finally they took him in. He didn't have surgery on the same day because he had to be on nil by mouth. So they
nil by mouth. Okay, I think we've lost Njeri a bit. Sophie?
Yeah?
Sophie, sorry, I'll bring you in. Remember, guys, Sophie is our resident psychologist as Njeri is coming back. And we've had Nancy's stories, Sophie. Maybe from the psychology angle, you can tell us the situations you handle in regards to this, where she's a survivor and we choose not to call them victims because she has survived. And Njeri, I'll get back to you. Sorry, you had gone off a bit.
No problem.
In a situation where a survivor decides they're going to stay in an abusive relationship, whether male or female, how can you explain that in psychology, like the psychological aspect of violence?
I don't know if I'd say they chose to stay, because anyone who's going through domestic violence or intimate partner violence is in a position where they feel they have no choice. They have no power. And so they don't have an alternative. They're just trying to survive. So, well, I don't think we'd say that they choose to stay. There are some things that mitigating factors, I guess you can call them, that don't allow them to leave. For instance, usually abusers or perpetrators work in a cycle. They work in a textbook manner. So the survivors are caught in this cycle. So the cycle, let me explain the cycle, then you'll understand what I'm saying. So the cycle has like 3 phases. So there's the honeymoon stage, where the guy or the lady is the best person you've ever interacted with. There's gift giving, sweet nothings, you know, it's all rosy. That's why it's called the honeymoon phase. There are promises, apologies, and all that. So then when you move into the next phase, known as the tension building phase, that's when you start getting into little arguments, little fights here and there. Anything can set them off. There's no salt in my food. I don't know what, you know, as in it doesn't, the fight is not the problem. This is what the person is going through. There's criticism, there's yelling, they're put down, they're shamed, all sorts of manner of things are happening. And then you go into the final phase called the explosion phase. So that's where now the violence comes in. So they lipuka. So they set on the lady or the guy and they beat them, whether it's physical, sexual, emotional abuse. But there's an explosive phase. Once that's over, the guy goes back or the lady goes back into the honeymoon phase. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'll never do that again. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh my God. I'm under so much pressure. And so if the survivor is caught in that cycle, you can see why it can become confusing. Because maybe the point they feel like they need to leave, then this guy has come and apologized and, you know, tried to set things straight. So then that's one factor that prevents people from leaving. But then there's also financial constraints. So if you're the survivor and you don't have a means to an end, or you're fully dependent on this person, then you feel stuck. And usually what happens is that over time, this person has been put down. They've been broken, basically. So they don't think they can stand on their own 2 feet. Their self-esteem is shattered. Their confidence is gone. So they don't have that will to walk away at that point in time. Cultural factors. You cannot be getting a divorce. Utaenda wapi? Hawezi rudi huku. You know, all that talk we get from society. And then even over time, as this person has been breaking them down, they've also isolated them from their family, loved ones. So sometimes people feel like they're alone. They believe they're alone. They have no one to turn to. Religious beliefs, your spirituality beliefs. If you have a strong faith and you come from this background where you feel like you cannot walk away from a marriage or a relationship, then that's another hindrance that you have to deal with. So if you look at all those factors that someone has to contend with, you can see why it can be a bit difficult to walk away. You think about the children. You don't want some people don't want to be called a divorcee. Some people feel like, what will happen to my kids? I'm used to a certain lifestyle. How will I now provide for them? There's a lot of things that are happening, and without the right support, then they cannot make that move.
And for GBV, and even Njeri has explained that it's not only violence, like it's not physical, there's also emotional, you know, there's emotional abuse.
Financial abuse.
Do you, sometimes people want to describe an abuser in quotes. I don't know if that's what I should call. And like for like in Nancy's case, for example, she had the honeymoon stage, and so she had the honeymoon stage, and then all of a sudden things went south in the cycle that Sophie has explained. So Njeri, do you think an abuser it's a trait, or it's normally triggered by something that makes this person behave the way they do or treat someone else the way they do?
To be honest, I have to say that if you look at what happens, you will find out that many abusers have had trauma sometimes, passed on to them. Some of it will be childhood trauma, I don't know. But some of it is childhood trauma. The other factor that you find is also abuse in any form is normally about power. It's normally about power. You will find that if I have the financial muscle, I'm the one who is controlling, like in the case of Nancy, where you can find out that the man who had the money, so he had the power. So, you know, power comes also responsibility, and maybe you want to shirk your responsibility. So you find that that is where you find one of the aspects of abuse comes in. Because if you look at it most of the time, you will find there's always a disproportionate amount of power in this relationship, where one is lower than the other, and therefore this other person takes advantage of it to to become an abuser.
Okay.
So
Sophie?
mostly that is it. There's also childhood trauma.
Okay. Sorry about that, Njeri. Carry
I'm saying
on.
there could be trauma that could be caused, like I
Mm-hmm.
always say, like when you say women say we are staying because of the children, these are children
Yeah.
who are growing up seeing and assuming that the love is violent. So what do you expect
Okay.
when that child grows up? They're going to grow up and actually become another abuser, because that is what they have
Yeah.
seen. They have normalized it. When as a woman,
Yeah.
you stay, or as a man, you stay in a place where there is violence, you assume that language
Yeah.
is violence. So your love language
Yeah.
becomes violent. You assume that if I hit this woman, then
Yeah.
I'm loving her. You'll actually find there are women who actually believe that if my husband doesn't beat me, he doesn't love me. Because they've
True.
grown up, I've actually had incidents like this, because they've grown up believing that because I saw my mom being beaten, then this is customary. Also cultural
Yeah.
beliefs where women are beaten culturally. So this also becomes something that you expect, you normalize it, but it is not normal, to be very
Yeah.
honest. And I think Sophie can actually elaborate more on that.
Yeah. Sophie, where we are defining the abuser
Yeah.
and what it normally entails, like is it, as Njeri is saying, maybe experience from past experience, maybe childhood trauma, maybe they've grown up seeing that violence is love. That's
Oh,
what
so
we're breaking.
like a profile. You're trying to
Yes,
profile.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Most of us profile abusers, and
yes,
you try and look for those
signs.
small things, yeah, signs.
It is
Red
true that
flags.
red flags, yes. It's true that
Yeah,
there's sort of like a profile. And then the other thing is, even though one of the things we're saying as a reason for not leaving is thinking about the kids, don't forget you're
yeah,
dealing with someone who's going through a very stressful and a very traumatic period in their lives, and they may not have the ability to make rational decisions. So even though
okay,
they're staying for their children, they may not be in the state of mind or frame of mind to start saying or to think of their child in
yeah,
20 years. Remember, they're in survival
yeah,
mode. It's about now.
yeah,
I need to survive
yeah,
now.
Yes.
So yes, there's
yeah.
the we've said this before, Adesh. Hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
hurt people.
Hurt people. Yeah,
So
that's
if you
Hurt
true.
look at
people.
if you look at a perpetrator and you look at their background, for sure they've gone through a world of pain. They've gone through
Yeah,
something in their lives as a child, as an adult, whatever the case, that has shaped them into the person they've become. It's by no means an excuse. Absolutely not. It's just that
yeah,
even in dealing with survivors, imagine you have to deal
mm-hmm.
with perpetrators as well. Even they need help
Yeah,
to stop the cycle.
yeah,
So you're looking at
yeah,
someone who maybe is going through unemployment, financial hardships. We've
mm-hmm.
seen markedly increased cases of domestic violence during COVID. And this is global. It's not a Kenyan thing. It's not
Exactly.
unique to our country. So the confinement is
Yeah,
making people
yeah,
do things, and there's high levels of stress, anxiety
yeah,
around not knowing how long COVID is there for. What will this do to me? How
yeah,
will this impact me? And you end up taking it out on
yeah.
other people. Then you look at their
Okay.
background growing up. What pain did they go
Mm,
through? Did they go through abuse of their own? Was it physical, sexual? Even if
yeah,
sometimes, and maybe Njeri has experienced this, you sometimes find cases of kids sexually abusing other kids, or you'll find young
Yes.
boys sodomizing younger boys. How would a 10-year-old
yeah,
know how to sodomize
Yes.
another boy? It means they too
yeah.
were
That's
sexualized at a very
Because
tender age,
he's
and that is
he's
the
being
language
done
they
to
know.
him.
Exactly.
Yes.
yeah,
And so
Yes.
at
yeah,
that's the point we need to intervene. Although someone might say it's too late, it's never too late. If you can help a child grow out of that and cut that cycle,
mm,
then he has better odds of becoming a productive member of society who doesn't hurt other
mm,
people. Yeah.
yeah.
Perpetrators need to
Okay.
also have that cycle cut. They too need
Yeah,
intervention. They too need help. Um,
yeah,
So whether they're male or female, they've gone through something for sure in their background. And then they could also have an underlying psychological issue. Because sometimes some psychological disorders do have aggressive behavior as a symptom. They do have angry outbursts as a symptom. So there are so many factors before we throw stones and judge that need to be considered. Yeah.
And Nancy, do you feel like Nancy? Do you feel when you're with your ex-husband and in the, let's say, honeymoon stage, did he ever talk about past experiences? Can you point? Do you feel like you can point out in what really caused the problems between you two? You had mentioned that he didn't have a job. You were supporting him.
Yeah, so I think with mine, I think he was just with me because I had a job and I could provide. Because now the minute he got a job of his own, there are some comments that he could make that made me think that there was something that wasn't right. Because I remember the time he first got this job, home, and he was so excited, and in that mood he told me he think he's now stable enough to get a house of his own and provide for his son, so him and his son. It was he said it, but then I feel like he meant it, because after now he was, when he got this job, he got it as a contractor, but then when he was now employed permanently, now that's when he he turned to be someone else. So I feel like
Yeah.
with me and him, what happened was I was there because he couldn't make it by himself. He needed me to provide for him. He needed me to help him with everything. That when he got a job now, he moved on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And I think also the other thing we should always remember is that there's no way any of this is anybody's fault. For a survivor who has gone through
Yeah.
this, it can never be their fault. And we also have to have empathy and understand that you were in a tough situation, for example, Nancy, and you are trying to do the best you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Njeri, I
Yes.
don't know what you think in your own experience and, from the rescues that you did.
Most of the women that or the men that I've had, they feel very guilty. One, for being in that situation, for placing themselves in that situation in the first place, for not reading the red flags, and for not leaving early enough. And you will find that in most situations, you're not really, you're the, let's put it, you're the victim of the circumstances that have happened. Yeah. So once you become a victim, there is no way we as a society, the problem we have even as a society, we do a lot of victim blaming. We are there like, and that's why most people don't leave, because we are there as society asking, why didn't you leave? Oh, she must have known. Oh, this person must have done something wrong. And Nancy, I have to sit here and tell you, you didn't do anything wrong. Um, the only thing you did is you stayed, you loved someone, and love shouldn't hurt. But again, as Sophie has said, hurt people hurt people. So sometimes you will come from a place where this person is hurt, and the only way he wants to also ascribe to this is to hurt you. Although sometimes, Sophie, you'll have to tell me if I'm being honest about this, is there are people who it's power play. I have the power, so I want to dominate you and I want to beat you. Because one of the women we went and beat, this man not only beat her, he beat the child. And the child was less than it was one year 3 months, 1.7, 17 months, 1 year 5 months. Yes,
it's true.
So this is a 1 year one. So when the mother held the child, thinking that she's protecting herself, the man hit the child too. So when you look at it, then you will see that this what do you say? This is power play, really.
Yes,
This is a man who feels like he's strong enough to beat people. And there was no other reason. He beat her.
Yeah.
That was it. And that was sad. So some of this, also there's people who tailor abuse. They beat you for a long time. So you are in a perpetual victimhood. You don't even know what to expect.
Yes.
Even just somebody saying, I believe you're being beaten, for them is such a relief. So when you find abuse differs from case to case.
It does.
Is that true?
It does.
Abuse is very different, especially the women I have in the shelter. If you listen to their stories, yes, they've all been abused, but each person is different. Each person is different. Most of them, of course, there's a lot of financial. You find in most, okay, in the cases we pick, financial abuse has been involved. Where somebody has lost a job, therefore the husband is beating them because now he's a sole provider, so he could be frustrated. I don't know. The other person, you find this man is beating them because they feel like you're not on the same level of education. So I undermarried, if there's such a thing. I married beneath me, and they make it quite they make it quite a thing, and it becomes I should have gotten someone better. Yet
Yes.
at the time, sorry, my cat is interrupting. So at the time, they were there. They knew what they were getting into. For example, as Nancy says, when he got her, he didn't have a job, so that means it was something planned. Like, let me be here until something better comes along.
Yes.
So all these things are factors that affect. But I can tell you, each case is unique. There is no case the same as the other. At Utapata, there is a blueprint for why people abuse others. No, every person is different. Every person is different. So that becomes an issue. Yeah.
It's true what you've said about power and the fact that some people seem to abuse others on purpose or for the fun of it, or they derive some joy in it, which is what I was saying. Like sometimes you have to look at the background and you'll find that there's an underlying psychological issue. So you'll find disorders like antisocial personality disorder, where honestly these are people who are narcissistic and they intimidate and they abuse and they derive some sort of pleasure from the suffering of other human beings. Yes, pleasure.
Yes.
From the suffering of other human beings.
So here comes the thing. How do you, as a person who is in a relationship with this person, how do you find that out? We are here talking about domestic abuse. There are probably women who are going through domestic abuse as we talk.
Yes.
But here's the thing. How do we tell them? How do we find out?
Yes. Who they are married to or what? Okay.
No, yes, like already let's say I'm married. Okay.
Yes.
So you've been fights. So do you think there are signs?
I think so, because
what are the signs we should be out?
If a person is like, let's continue with the example you've given about power play. So if there are signs where this person will not let you have friends or contact with your family, they're trying to control you. They're controlling every aspect of your life. They go through your phone. They want to know who is texting you. Why is so and so sending you 500 shillings? They want to control each and every aspect of your life. They control your movements, exactly. And they manipulate you in a way, so you even remove yourself from your family. You're the one who stops talking to people. So people will be like, "Ay, Tangu Nani got married, she's feeling sweet for people," and we judge. We sit and judge.
They think you act true.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, we are here judging. But if you're able to actually,
we are thinking that.
That's right.
We're thinking that here she is. She's living now. She's reached. She's gotten married. She's reached. Actually, I tell people, check on your friends. One of the things I say is check on your friends.
Exactly.
You will find that people are very concerned about you, but you don't even know how to tell them that the honeymoon phase is over and now you are living in fear. You're actually being terrorized, really.
Yes, exactly. And also now the intimidation and the emotional, financial, physical abuse is happening. Be honest with yourself. You know you're in a bad situation, so do something about it. Seek out your support system, and your friends should actually also look out for you. Sorry guys, we have a lot of technical hitches, so let me go quickly to the comments. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in. Thank you for all the love that you're showing, Nancy and Njeri. And this is what this show and other shows like this are about, that we help each other. We help each other in this community. So let me just real quick read some of these comments. Lizzie, Mary, Maureen, thank you so much for tuning in. Lydia, Maya, Names, this is actually now bringing out issues for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Baba Kim, There's lots of people here, Nancy, who are just praying on you and on your son. Thank you, Voboy Maina, for tuning in. Anthony Mushiri, Meriotogo, you guys are all shocked. Nate, yes, Nancy's story is heartbreaking, but remember, she's a survivor. She's, ridden the storm and come out on the other side. You believe we should change the term molest to rape when it pertains to kids under 18. It's too messed up. Yes, Maya, some people can take advantage of others. Lizzie, you say that it's unfortunate. Nancy's hubby knows that hakuna mali anaeza enda. So sad that the things women go through out here, women and men, remember, it's anyone can be a survivor, and can find themselves in this kind of situation. Malaka Matunda, we see you. Thank you for tuning in. Guys are even tagging each other. Wow, thank you so much for the support. Tuzo, you said that this is a very insightful discussion. Thank you so much. Maya, yes, you say that Nancy was being used as a stepping stone, and that she was being used for shelter, food, water. Wow, yes. Well, humans can be a bit. Let's not even go there. Njeri, I think maybe people are wondering how you ended up in this. Like, can you quickly tell us? Even I'm aware of time, but can you tell us, like, how did you decide to start a shelter? How did you decide to support survivors? Then maybe we can also talk about safety planning. I think that's important.
Oh, that is a very important thing. To be very honest, once upon a time in my life, I was young, naive, and foolish. I did love, which happens to all of us at one point. And I was a victim of GBV.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But mine was on and off. It could hit me and it could last us a whole year. So I would be like, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And as you said, when you do no longer have friends, you no longer have a life outside of this person's life. It is him only. He's controlling your movement. He's controlling who is your life, your children. When you eat, when you sleep, then I think you have a problem.
Yeah.
But you know what? One day, I'm partially deaf. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And one day I decided this is not the life for me, and I walked away. Hard as it may be, especially because we're looking at a lot of wealth. This was somebody who had money, and most of us, we do not like coming out of our comfort zone and starting in a house with a mattress over there, and you're going to use a single room where you're using toilets and you've not used them. You've never used like a public toilet.
Yeah.
It was a very confusing time. I mean, I had to get a door and just use it in my house and go power because this wasn't it.
Yeah.
But I managed, and when I healed and I went through my healing process, it took a lot of therapy as well. And just getting myself back on my feet, getting into biashara. I hustled and, until I am where I am. And I'm not going to say it's easy. It is one of the hardest things. It is hard to walk away. I'm not going to tell anybody if you're in an abusive situation that you can just walk away. It is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. It is hard. Kwanza, when you start thinking, manze, what will my friends say? Okay, at that point, I didn't really have friends, so it didn't really matter. But what will my family say? I was already distanced from my family. I didn't even when I left, I didn't even remember I had family I could go live with. I went to rent a small house for myself. So you find that one of the things you do it is so hard to walk away when you start thinking. I'll say like the Israelites would say, now where Moses, so even you are thinking to yourself, now that I have walked away, how am I even going to survive? But I'm telling people that I survived. It's been almost 10 years, 9 years really, since I left, and I have survived, and I am here, and I have survived. And not only did I survive, I also got married again 4 years ago. And so anything is possible. Anything is possible. But for me to start this is anything, even love is possible sometimes. And getting love in your own terms is also very important. And the reason why I started a shelter is I would speak to women. And women would come and tell me their problems, and most of them will tell you, where do I go? So you've told me to leave Njeri. Where do I go? Where do these women go? When a woman has been beaten and thrown out at night, and you don't have, we know the circumstances and the situations and how life is hard right now. How many days, Sophie, can you host me in your house?
That's true. That's true.
You can't. I mean, it's expensive. It is very expensive to host. Let's say me, I come with my 5 children. How will you host me? and my 4 cats.
Yeah.
How will you host me? It's crazy, right? So
Right.
most people need a place where they can just go, get away from that violence, from that trauma, from that abuse. Just a place where it can be home. We obviously you don't stay with us long enough. Maybe a month at the maximum, but at least there in that 1 month, you don't have to worry where food is coming from for your children, where your clothes are coming from, because most of the women we have, they were thrown out without anything.
Yes.
So here you are with, we even have a small baby. We have an 8-month-old baby. We have a 15-month-old baby. We have a 4-year-old. We have quite a few children. But here they're living their life without having to worry about shelter. So what they do when why we run a shelter is now these women, after asking me, where do we go? I realize there's a need for us to have a shelter. See what's after shelter in Nairobi. That is when I discovered kumbe we don't have shelters. So here I am, I'm hosting women in my house. Because now even the shelters that you're referred to, they're telling you right now we can only take somebody for a week or so. And I realized, Allah, this is not working. My house also has to be my house. I have to come home to a home, not to a place of where now I also need to start dealing with also trauma and healing.
Definitely.
So that's why we started a shelter. We just took a leap of faith, and we had a bit of shopping and a little bit of money that we had saved, and we opened a shelter. We have a shelter, and as a need, it can accommodate up to 8 people, although currently we have 11. So that tells you how bad the situation
Things
is.
are thick. Yes.
We have we take you plus your children. We don't say that if you have boy children, don't come. We have all of them there. We take you, we tell you this is it. Come say, if somebody has options like eventually like relatives, so they come, they get counseling. We have a therapist who comes once every week. And we also have like, right now we have started selling to people mandazis, samosas, meatballs, just to sustain us and things like that, and also to keep them busy. To keep them busy, we have Kaya Ranger who comes every Thursday. She does yoga, meditative walks, teaches us how to breathe, because most of these women are so traumatized. Just even a cup falling down is a cause for them to run to somebody's shaking. They're so fearful. So Kaya coming in and just telling us we can breathe through pain, and actually it's really, really changing. The other thing we try to do to the women who don't have like skills and training, because the other women, most of the women who stay on longer, you'll find somebody who has enough money or enough, like a plan, they'll just come stay for 2-3 days. But we have women there who do not know where to go, what to do. We try and empower them with skills. People come and volunteer, teach them financial literacy, and then we try and open for them small businesses that they can manage. And we also try and rehome them, get them a house, a small business, come and isoko, a shop, anything, so that they don't go back to the abuser. Because one of the reasons you're going, if let's say you left because of finances, and we don't give you the capacity to be able to like
to rebuild your life and just to be able to
you have
support
children
yourself.
and you coming and staying with us is just let's say call it a vacation. But if we can empower you and give you the ability to start over and stand on your feet and stand on your own and still come back for therapy, they still come for therapy and just talk to this women, to talk to the therapist. You find that most women have been helped like that.
And so then yours is a transition.
That's what we do.
It's a transition and also a capacity building setup. And so I'm just wondering if people
we wanted it to be a transitional. Sorry, you were saying?
No, sorry, I was going to say if people need to get in touch with you, then what's the best way to go about it? Like if they need your help, how do they do that?
Our number, we are on Facebook, number 1, Usikimye, Usikimye. You can inbox us there. We are on Twitter. You can also inbox us there. We have a number, my number generally, which is 0718 158 400. Call us. Let us talk. We are very open to talking to you. We have a therapy line which you can WhatsApp, where a therapist will talk to you at some point. We are trying to do everything we can to just make sure that you feel like you're not alone. Because
Yes.
one of the things that most survivors of this, even as I said, there's a man who reached out to us and he was so ashamed. He didn't even tell me when he reached out to us that he was a victim, that his wife was beating him. It's until we went, the wife left and left him with children, and left the children and took the clothes for the children. So here is a man I'm going to visit. The children had nothing but vests.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? But he had lost his job, so it became obvious once he lost his job that he couldn't. he had a daughter, 18 months, 1 year, 8 months, and then 2 boys, 4 months.
Yeah.
The only thing he had in the house was a mattress because the wife went with everything else and left him the children. And he was so ashamed. It's when we started talking, what I did is I went with men.
Okay.
Because I said, you know what, I'm not a man. I don't know how to help him.
Yes.
So let me go with men who can talk to him. I actually carried along my husband, another father that I know who's a single dad to 2 daughters, and another man from an organization known as Present Fatherhood. So they could talk to him. So when he saw other men and they look, we've been single dads and everything, this man opened up. That is when he opened up. He never told me that his wife used to beat him with a mwiko to make, he used to, alikuwa anakuja nyumba, he has no money, he was working in Marikiti, and this is a graduate, but because he couldn't get money, so she would beat him, with a mwiko. And it was very embarrassing. So he ran away and everything. So finally now, when he's here, is when he opened up. Again, I tell men, open up. Help is available. I'm actually going to insist on that. Speak up. Stop. Usikimye. Exactly. That is where we are. Do not be silent. Speak up. We cannot know your problems unless you speak up.
It's true.
And for women, also, do not be shamed by anyone because you're going through abuse. That is something I have noticed, that, we shame victims. We shame them. We are here, we talk in all these groups and we say, oh, so and so is being beaten. And if you know your friend is being beaten, don't give up on them. It is not easy to walk away from a marriage. Trust me, or from a relationship. Keep on.
No.
Just tell them we love you. We are here. We are available. If you want to talk to them, just let them know you notice, but don't cut them off. Even if you help them 50 times, there is a time. I mean, some of us, we ran away so many times, but we would go back, because somehow the allure of back is very strong. So you find the same happens to many women. They come out, then they go back. It's a cycle. It's a cycle of violence. Hey, Adero.
Hi, sorry.
So we come back, we go back, and we come back.
That's what happens when
we're
you go
sorry.
live.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. And just to add on, I was following up the conversation. Njeri, there are instances where people shy from, let's say it's a friend who's going through it or a relative, and you don't want to get involved because you feel like you're going to break a home. What would you advise? Like, some people say Stucky, or I'm going to be called a spoiler, a marriage breaker, a home breaker. What would you advise now, the society, like the general public?
Your friend is being beaten. Your friend is going through violence. I think the most you can do is to be available. Just tell them, hey, don't tell them first and foremost, because once you tell us we know, we are going to shun you like one's business. So one of the things that you need to do is to just let them know that I'm here in case of anything. I'm here. You want I'm here. You want to run away? I'm here. Don't tell them why randomly, or you can even start engaging. This is how I do it. I tell someone, hey, by the way, so and so, even if I'm making up a whole story. Aki, I have a friend. She's going through such abuse, Aki, and I'm so worried about her. Aki, people nowadays, people are being killed. Because let me tell you, to be very honest, as of today, our reported statistics, we have 35 dead women, 3 dead men, and 7 dead children. I haven't even added the 4 that were killed by their mother. So that makes 11 children.
Yes.
Okay, this is all GBV. We are not looking at anything else. This is GBV. So, you start giving them examples and you start telling them, I'm really worried about this person. Don't tell them it is them you're talking about, because once you do that, they will close up. So let them open up to you, pole, so that you can start giving them what we call as an exit advice. so that they can start knowing. Let them know they can trust you. And if somebody trusts you with the fact that they're being abused, please don't go telling other people. Tafadhali, I'm asking you. If somebody opens their heart to you and they tell you they're abused, the last thing they want to hear is Nani saying, Aki ulisikia kumbe Judy is being beaten, or did you hear that that Tekla is being beaten? Please, or John. John chapana bibi yake. Don't do that. Don't do that. This person has trusted you with things that can cause their death. For all you know, that person can kill that person. We are at a place where people are now killing each other. So if somebody entrusts you with this information, know how to help them. If you're going to come back and visit them with a counselor or somebody who is better experienced, if you don't know how to help them, trust me, there are people out here who are able to help. I have people who call me and they tell me, Njeri, my neighbor is being beaten. What do I do? I tell them, what do you think you can do? Then they tell me nothing. Then I tell them, call the police. Tell the police when she's being beaten. I remember there was a case of this man who just reached out to me and told me, Aki, every day our neighbor here in Gara gets beaten. What do I do, Njeri? I told them, go to the police right now and report. Siana chapo sahi, go to the police. Tell them to wakuje. There's so many things. And the fact that he even reached out to Usikimye tells you that he was concerned. So there is always something you can do. Refer them to us if you're afraid. We will do our utmost best to help.
Okay. So I'd like just to read some of the comments, and for the people who've tuned in. Net ananienjoy ati nimepiga dura coat poa sana. My face is beat. And then Njeri, you've been applauded for doing a good job. Nancy, people are empathizing with you. Saga Katema, thanks for logging in. V-Boy, as always. Boboy, thank you. Babakim, asante sana. Anasema yenyewe tusikimie DC. Kirui, thank you. Anthony Mshiri. James, the artist. Kouku, Veronica Mudhoni Rutere. Nate says, Maya, it's keep off men, women who joke by. Okay, I don't get that. We are reminding guys, I don't know if Njeri, you've spoken about the kitty for Usikimye, which is a pay bill 891300.
No, I haven't.
Basically, guys, Njeri, Usikimye have a pay bill number. Maybe you can tell us what the funds are used for and just break it down to us.
Okay. We are doing two things. One is the shelter, where we are feeding these women and the children as well. We are running a shelter, which means food is needed, diapers are needed, baby food is needed. People really came. Let me tell you, everything we have in Usikimye in the shelter, and I want to really thank my Facebook friends and also the ones who spread the word out, came from people like you. People, when I told people we are planning to open a shelter, let me tell you, people gave us seats, people gave us beds, people gave us duvets, everything, cups, utensils, everything we have in Usikimye is given to us because we run Usikimye. It's a non-profit. There is nothing. It's our own money and well-wishers' money. That's how we are running it. So we have all those programs, and then apart from that, we do rescues. I can tell you, if I'm going to Githurai 44 to pick a victim, how you can take by your cab, how much that is going to cost me. Take this person to, let's say, MSF, which is in Juja Road. Take this person to a children's home. Take them to Nairobi Women's. And if there is any extra treatment that goes off GVRC, which is a lot, most of the time, unapata this person, because they've been beaten for a long time. We had a girl who was gang raped. She was beaten so badly, she got a hernia. She needs an operation. Guess who is Guess who is doing this? Usikimye. We have this boy. Every extra need that is outside of the scope of GVRC, we are the people who are concerned. So we are the people who have to stand up for it. We also rehome these women. We have rehomed so far as Usikimye. We have rehomed 5 women. 5 women. That means we've given them mattresses, we've given them meko, we've given them food, even the man. You see, right now, as we are talking, this man has seats, he has a table, he had nothing but a mattress, he has a bed, he has clothes for his babies, and we actually go back to check on these people. So we try and do that. We also do all this. The other program that we run is when this person is coming out of the home, as I said, we try and open for them small businesses. This also costs money. And all this money, I'm telling you, comes from well-wishers. It's not from us. Our pockets have run dry a long time ago. You know, any money I get now, it's channeled to Usikimye, not even to my children. It's channeled to Usikimye because there's so many things that go on that you don't even see behind the scenes. When you are calling me, I was coming from Thika, from the prison, to check on these women that got arrested. I know it's none of my business, but they reached out to me, so I have to go and see what is the plan. All these are things you do. Nimetoka jela, nimewanunulia maziwa. I'm planning tomorrow to go see their children, just to make sure these women their children are fed. Because if I'm saying I am going to be a gender activist, it doesn't matter who you are. We are going to come where you are. So we've been doing that. So that is what some of the money goes out to, is towards the shelter, making sure the shelter runs. Imagine feeding 11 people every day. So and we have children, small children, who need Weetabix, we need milk, we need these people need to have breakfast, lunch, and supper. And now again, as I said, the rescue programs, and really the rescue programs, we would want to think that it would be once in a, we can't tell you when it will happen, but they happen. So far, just this week, we've 3 people, and take them to hospital, make sure they're treated, and just take care of that. And also now the businesses for the women as well as the rehoming. That's what the money is used for. And just for our day-to-day running activity.
Okay, so we will still share that. We have shared the pay bill number down there on the screen. So
thank you so much.
Whoever wants to reach out to Njeri can reach out. I'm assuming even for those who want to work with you, again, it's voluntary. People can reach out to you on her Facebook page.
Yes, it's voluntary. We can't afford to pay you.
And then for Nancy, for just sharing her story, Nancy, what help do you feel you need, whether it's psychologically, emotionally? Do you feel you have the support that you need, or moving forward, just now that especially you have a baby who's in hospital?
So far I've never seen any doctor, like a psychologist or anything. I'm just me and my kids. We just ourselves. We talk among ourselves. So I don't think my concern being that he's going through all that. Like now he's been released from palliative care. The leg that was amputated grew until it burst. So I do the dressing myself at home. I do the palliative, as in the care, everything. I do it myself at home, and the bandages and stuff like that, I buy them myself. I just got a job the other day, and also it's that I don't think I'll continue with the job, being that most of the time, like today I was at work, but then I can't go to work because he's discharged. It's me to go get him to hospital and stuff like that. So anyone there are a lot that I would ask for in terms of help and everything, but anything that anyone would, be it a doctor who can help, be it maybe helping with getting being maybe a counselor, someone who can just come in and talk to us, myself and my sons, I would really appreciate.
Okay, and Nancy, just for sharing your story, we thank you so much. I mean, it's not easy, even just speaking about it, and I can imagine even the stigma, and maybe that's why most people don't come out to speak. Sorry, today
I think she's having issues with net. So Nancy, then looking at what you've gone through, and in terms of even just extra support, you've talked about the fact that you have to take care of your own son and do the palliative care yourself. And I'm just wondering, do you know how you've managed? Because you are managing. You are managing, and you're doing a fantastic job. You're doing a fantastic job. So just to think about how you've managed to come this far. And from this forum and from this setup, I'm sure you'll be able to, probably get some support, and we can see what to do in terms of even tapping you into resources such as psychological support. We'll see what to do about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess it's a step at a time. Is there something you would like to say to somebody out there? If you could speak to someone, what would you say to them?
Somebody, like someone who is going through what I went through,
What
I
you
would be
went through.
like, for example, being abused in marriage, staying with someone who is there when you guys are okay, but then when it turns, I would tell that person never to think twice. I myself didn't know I would make it. I didn't even know I would even get a house. I didn't even know my son could get treatment. But one thing to learn is that God works in so many ways. Because I can't, as there's a question you just asked me now. If I would tell you how I wouldn't if it was now as Nancy, because I stopped working last year in June 2019.
Okay.
And since then, I've just been staying home with these two kids. Actually, both my kids are not well, and I've managed. It might be hard, like what you said initially, that first you'll start asking yourself, how am I going to make it without this guy? How am I going to for my house? How am I going to these kids? How am I going to take the guy my kids if they are sick, maybe to hospital? You're just wondering how you're going to manage without these people. But there's just a way that usually comes. I can't even say. So if you in a situation where you feel like you can't go on, you're in a situation where you feel like happy, you're in a situation where you feel like you are in a certain jail or something, not way, but I would tell someone, just find your way out. Find your way out, and you'll just
Okay, find your way out. Wow, that's powerful. Thank you, Nancy. So guys, you can see Usikimye's pay bill number scrolling at the bottom there. So you can send anything you can to help Njeri's, I don't know, what can I call it? A heart project. A project of labor of love. That's what I was looking for. Pay bill 891300, account Usikimye. Njeri, through this labor of love, is there anything you can say to someone who's watching, who's just going through a painful journey, just like a parting shot? What would you say to them?
I would say, if you're going through abuse, please leave. Imagine you can always leave. I know it feels hard, and I know it's really, even if you have a mattress, even if you're afraid, call me, talk to me. I'm here. I will show you how to leave. Please do not tell your abuser you are leaving. Please. I think we need to talk about that before we close.
Yes, we will.
We need to tell people what to do. You don't just wake up. Oh, okay.
We have like 10 minutes.
You disappeared, so we started winding up.
It's okay. No,
all right.
It's okay.
So I think we need to go.
Yes, we'll talk about safety.
I'm thinking we need to talk about safety, about when you are planning to exit. You don't just, unless you've been thrown out, you don't just tell the person, by then and kesho. Don't do that. Kesho said, wachani kwambia, mimi maina utakuwa kinechapa. Mimi kesho naenda. Where? Huh? My friend, we do not want to come collect you. So there are exit strategies in place about how you live. I think I've spoken to enough women now. I am becoming an expert. First and foremost, if you know you are going to leave, your documents and your children's documents, secure them. That is the first thing you secure. You can live without anything else, but secure your child's documents and your any other documents that you need, your ID, your living certificates, anything like that, and just remove it and take it to a place of safety. You have to have people you trust in your life that you can give these things to. All right. That is one of that's one of the things I tell people. People who will not tell other people. You have to have people you really trust, your mom, your dad, your sister, your best friend, people who this one carries me, yeah? Give them things like that one. Hata kama utakuwa ukitoa moja moja, every other day you remove it. If you have an office, maybe you can keep it there until such a place where you have gone. If you can have like a small saving, the better for you, sweetheart. Starting over is very costly. Yeah. But the other thing I'm going to say, don't be ashamed, even if you live in Kilimani or you live in Kayole. Domestic abuse cuts across all sorts of society. Don't be ashamed to start from Kayole. Don't be ashamed if you are living in Kilimani to go and live in Kayole. Your safety and your children is really of paramount importance.
Priceless.
So I think Sophie can also tell you another strategy. That was my first one. We will go through each and every one of them. But I think Sophie can also tell you something about that.
Let me talk about if you're actually in that situation, you're living with your abuser, you're living with your perpetrator. Yeah. Be observant. Learn to identify the emotions.
Triggers.
Learn to identify the triggers. Learn to identify when he or she is going to explode. And most of the time, they already know. Most of the time, survivors already know this thing is going south. So learn to identify those triggers and his or hers moods. The flare-ups. It's coming. So learn to identify those. Then identify safe spots in your house. Kitchen
away from the kitchen.
Safe
Bathroom.
Spot. It is hot. Hot. Kitchen is not a no-go zone. Identify the safe spots where there are no weapons. So that if the flare-up now, the explosion comes, you can run to that safe spot in your house. Whatever type of house it is, there's always somewhere you can run. And if now the violence has come and this guy or this lady is coming onto you, curl yourself up into a ball position, like a fetal position, and cover your head. Protect your head with either side of your head with your arms. Just to minimize the blows to your head and any damage that might come. We need to talk about survival tips, because as this person is trying to do the escape planning, they're still in danger. So what can I do if I'm in danger? So these are the things. Learn the triggers. Identify safe spots. Teach your children. The triggers. Teach them the safe spots. Never let your child come in between you and the person laying blows on you.
Who's beating you.
Exactly. Teach your child, when things get thick, enda kwa Mama John, number 5. Enda tujui wapi. So that when it's over, you also know where to find your kids. And kids are the best person to teach. I'm telling you, with Corona, the people who are wearing masks the best are kids, because they've been taught, wash your hands for 20 seconds. They're learning and they're doing it. So even with this, teach your children, and they will even be the ones to remind you, because sometimes in situations like this, your memory is not so good. They'll be the ones to remind you about your safety plan. And very important what Njeri said about a survivor's kit. The documents, clothes, clothes you can always get for you, but if you need to keep minimal clothes, if you have like a baby shawl, things like that, and hide that bag somewhere safe. And never, ever, ever, ever tangaza, I'm leaving. Do not be posting on Sijui WhatsApp at they'll have a time.
Unarushia status. Usirushe status, boss. Do not say this. By the way, when you are about to leave, be at your 100% best behavior. Let this person think you are the sweetest person. And let me tell you, if you're being beaten, don't be those people who are beaten and you're like, you don't want the neighbors to hear. Scream, my friend. That will save you from dying. Scream. Nobody wants that makelele. Most people, wakisha kugonga sikio umekata scream. Don't be like, I used to be those ones who is hit, and I'm like, because I don't want people to know that I'm going through things like this. So I'm hit. I'm like, no, please. My friend sahi hata ukinionyesha kidole, I am already screaming before you even do anything. I will scream. I think screaming is a cry for help. And people know. Imagine if you don't scream and you are lying. Maybe this. Okay, we had a case in Nakuru where this lady was beaten and she was left for dead, but she didn't. But because she screamed, the neighbors heard. Unaona? So they came and picked her up. You see the difference? Because the man beat her so badly, she's still in hospital, beat her so badly and left her there to die. And he left.
Yeah.
If she didn't scream, tell me if the neighbors didn't hear, would they have saved her?
She'd be dead. Yeah.
So screaming is a weapon. Usiogope, even as you're in that fatal position, why scream? Even if you're a man, scream. Usiogope, wacha nikwambie, your life matters. The most important thing I need for people who have been abused, they've forgotten that they matter, they've forgotten that they're important, they've forgotten who they are, they've lost it. You matter. Imagine, it doesn't matter how little you think you contribute to life, you matter. And it will be very sad for you to die over something that all of us can actually come through together and help you.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, so you matter, remember that.
Yeah, thanks, Njeri. I still want to go through the comments because there are so many comments and I've just read out a few. Nancy, a question that you've been asked, but you can answer after I read the other comments, is Lizzie Yogo, you know Lizzie and you know Mary Otogo. We were in the same WhatsApp group. I think you're still in the group. They were asking, and it's basically about your children. Mary, of course, is saying like staying for the children is really messing GBV victims, whether male or female. And Liz is asking, do you think your children are safe where they are?
Okay.
Yeah. And then Malaika, and I think Sophie, this is for you. What would you tell a lady stuck in a bad relationship who still feels the man can change? It's hard to leave a man you love. Just note that. So we can have one rolling discussion. Tuzo Daisy, thanks for coming. Lizzie again says, Njeri, proud of you. I've seen Maureen Olo, thanks for watching. Nancy, there's Liz is also asking, are you okay? Like where you're staying? Njeri, the same person is asking, is your shelter somewhere Nancy can come to if she's not okay and her children are not okay? To my technical team, Lizzie has said, can we kindly remove the auto captions? We'll work on that, Lizzie. Malaika, you've been told how to contribute to the shelter. I'm just trying to get the questions so that we discuss. Then Maya says, this story reminds me of one guy, he hit my tummy, a thorough kick, things have never been the same again. That's very unfortunate. And that's sad that it got there. We're so sorry, Maya. Yeah. And she says that these are the characteristics of men whom their mothers call Toto. Anyway, I think that's what I know. But sorry for that. Maya, she says right now, if you throw her a bottle top, even a bottle top, she'll run for her life. Moms love children's home. Wow. They say, love you, Njeri. Kudos. I like your spirit. Yes, so those are most of the comments. So we'll start with you, Nancy. Are you safe? Are your kids safe?
As I said
okay
before,
where you are?
Yes. So I went to the police station and I was able to get an OB number, and also the guy was given a restraining order against coming anywhere near me and my children. So I think so far my children are safe. In terms of where I'm living, I think I'm safe. Just that now, just issues of finances and how I'll be able to pay for this, which I said before there that I've been out of work since last year, and so far I've been managing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So so where we can, we'll just put. I guess you'll just comment on the comment section, and then whoever can reach you, because we don't want to post your number. Yeah, whoever can reach you will reach you. Sophie, you've been asked about people who are in love and can't leave a man or a woman. It's both.
Can I just say something non-psychologically? But this business of wanting to change a man, who told you?
Or a woman.
Or a woman. Who told you? Who told you? To answer that question,
Actually, they don't change.
Simply, let me just answer, and I'll steal Nancy's tidbit. Take away from this. Find a way out. Change yourself. you have no business wanting to change somebody else. Are you going to change yourself? And at what cost? If you're in danger, your kids are in danger, imagine find a way out. You have support. Njeri is here. There are other places where one can call. There's, I know, 1195. There are so many resources that we have. Let's tap into those resources.
Yes.
This business of wanting to change somebody,
Okay.
to what end? To what end? Let us all work on our own issues.
And why?
And why? And why? Why?
Yeah.
Let's work on our
Why?
own issues. Yeah. If you are struggling, come. There's so many psychologists in this country. We can all help you. So let's focus on the task at hand, your life, and that of your family.
Yeah.
That's my response to that.
And before we move to Njeri about Nancy and the help she can get, there's something that someone has WhatsApped, and it's a guy, but he's stating that apparently, especially in such times of tension and anxiety, for instance, this COVID, this COVID menace, they're like asking the ladies to give them a break, like ati saa zingine sisi kama girlfriends na bibi, we, you know, this is a sole provider and we are there. There's the nag, so tunaambiwa we nag. And I've seen instances actually during this COVID menace where someone is just like, this person has never hit me, and they've just started having physical fights. And I think as you mentioned that, you know, there's maybe this someone now who's lost their job. So many people have been laid off left, right, and center. What would you advise, like, just for peace of mind, and especially during this crazy time? Na sisi wanawake ndio tumeambiwa tunasumbua mpaka tunapigwa.
You know, remember, why are you in that relationship? Why are you in that marriage? It's a partnership. It's a partnership. So if you push your person, your partner to the edge, to what end? You're both going through a stressful situation. It's an unprecedented time. Yeah. So rather than working together to go through this, I mean, we pray to God even our kids don't go through this when they're older, or their own children. Yeah. Our own parents have never gone through something like this. So instead of working together to survive during this pandemic, why do you want to now pit at each other? And okay, it's understandable because you're going through a stressful situation, and that's a person who is there. Yeah, that's a person you're chomoing your stress on. Lakini, even that person will want to chomoa their stress on you. Is it fair? Remember, you're in a partnership, work together towards a common good. Yeah. So if there are things that need to be resolved within that relationship, then let's resolve them. Seek the help that you need to get. You can't now say we can't go for therapy because of COVID. Everyone has evolved. Yeah. Therapy is available online, on phone, on WhatsApp. Even with technical hitches, my friend, we always find a way. Net can drop in the middle of a session. Usijali, we will pick up the phone and call you. We will always find a way to help you. So I would now imagine that because you're in a relationship, it means you want to be with that person. It's a partnership. So work together towards bigger picture manenos.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Sophie.
The other thing, can I add something onto what she has said? What exactly do you think beating the other person accomplishes, and how does that even resolve the issues at hand? You know, I'm a proponent of children not being beaten, so I'm not going to say is that person a child that you need to discipline. I think there are other ways of disciplining people. I mean, your children rather than beating. So let's not even go there. Let's talk about what is at hand. Why are you beating the other person? What exactly does it accomplish? What has beating anyone ever accomplished anyway? If you love this person and you are in a relationship with this person, I think walk away. I think we all need to learn to walk away when tempers are high.
Yes.
If you're nagging imefika mwisho, walk away. I know bars were the places you're all running away to because maybe you're afraid of the nagging. But can I also say the thing is, you can actually walk away. You can come out. Hata kama unaishi kwa ploti, toka kwa nyumba yako, piga lap moja kwa hiyo ploti kama nje ni kuwa unsafe. Piga malap ka 5, calm down, then you can come and talk like reasonable people. But we cannot say that now it is COVID, now she's nagging me, she knows I lost my job, I'm frustrated, now I'm going to beat her. How now? Aje sasa? Can we stop beating each other? This beating each other has never solved anything. I can tell you that. Even the people you know that were beaten and the people still continue to beat. Do you actually think those relationships work? So beating each other is a no-go zone. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Tuache kupigana. Can we stop beating each other? Yeah?
Yeah.
Can we stop it?
Yeah.
We are adults. We are fully grown adults with functional brains. Can we not fight?
Yeah.
Let us shout at each other and then walk away, or whatever it is that is going to make you calm. But beating each other is a no-go zone for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And Njeri, what has happened?
Mimi hapa. Oh no. We're only having
No,
a
I'm
half of
here.
her
I'm here.
face of her gorgeous self.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
It
All
was
right.
kidogo.
Yes, the question was to me.
Yes. As I try and sort this out, on Nancy and the shelter.
Okay, on Nancy and the shelter. So what the person has asked if I have space. Our shelter is a transitional space. So it is a place for women and their children to come and stay. It's not a home. To come and stay for a while as they get their act together. And if a time comes and Nancy has no place to stay and we have space, definitely we'll accommodate her. But maximum time we can accommodate you is a maximum of it's a transitional space for people as they plan themselves. As they plan themselves for the next season of their life. So what we do at the shelter, as I said, is we come, you stay with us for a season where you prepare yourself. You have to have an exit strategy even as you go to a shelter, where you know that this is not a permanent home. This is just a place where I can stay as I plan myself for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So if a time comes and Nancy needs our help, imagine we are here for her. She can come
Wow.
with your
Okay,
babies,
that's
Nancy.
so nice to
You
hear.
will stay, you'll have a bed, you will have food, and we'll see even how to rehome you and make sure that you'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are open to that.
Wow. Bless you for that. So I think this conversation is wide, broad. There's so much to talk about. But I'd just like to thank you so much, Sophie, for always being there just to, take our guests through the psychological aspect of whatever situation they're in. Njeri, we can't thank you ever so much. The first time I saw Kaya sharing something on Usikimye, and that's it. I'm always on your page, and I think we just hear these stories, but when I went onto your page, I'm like, this thing is happening. Like, that's why we looked for you. We're like, we need to talk to this chick, and then coincidentally, I call you and you're with a 10-year-old who's been sodomized.
And I'm sorry, the first time
you were crying.
I cried, and I really cried. And I'm so sorry. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed. And the one thing I've realized in this job is I cannot lose my empathy.
Yeah.
So I cry a lot.
Yeah.
And you caught me when I was crying. Yeah.
Yeah, which is okay. And I'm hoping that you are also getting some therapy or planned therapy. Now you have Sophie's contacts, mnaweza ongea on the side. But it's also good for you, just for you see a lot. You're a mother, so you can imagine even if it's any of our children, just how heartbreaking that can be.
Yes.
But we want to thank you so much for coming onto the show and taking time to tell us about Usikimye. We won't tire in talking about Usikimye and just helping where we can as L.in.K.
Thank you.
And even the people who are watching, I'm sure there are people who will come through. And Nancy, I think she was also having issues like me. Nancy, I know you're watching, or you'll watch after we log off, but thank you so much for sharing your story. Guys, if you're watching and you can help Nancy in whatever way, please feel free to contact her. She'll comment on the live show comment section. You can reach out to her in whatever way you can. Let's help each other. Let's make this society a better place for each one of us. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry we have to go. We've gone past our time by like 45 minutes. Yeah, but it was a candid conversation. It's a conversation that has to keep going. Remember, if you're out there and you're in a violent or abusive relationship, whether male, female, please walk out. That's what we are saying.
Find a way out.
Work out. And if you need help, if you have further questions, you can reach Sophie, you can reach Njeri, and you can reach Nancy just to ask her about her journey and how she got out of it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Remember, we are L.in.K. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My name is Adero Ocholler. Remember to roll the R. Until next Saturday, 3 p.m. I hope my net will be okay, but it will. You see, I bounce back every time. Amuniwezi. Until next time, thank you so much, Njeri, and thank you, Sophie, and thank you, Nancy. Mbarikiwe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.